I looked over at the guy and I said, who would design something like that? And he said, I can't tell you. But then when I said, well, why would we build it in a design like this? This is exactly what he did. He looked at me and went, we got it from them. So, I mean, I don't have to figure out what that means. But that was exactly what he said. We got it from them. Now, then one of the characteristics of this thing was that as soon as it became activated, there were electromagnetic discharges across the surface of the vehicle. But I could not detect any sort of structure for what was producing those signals. You know, if you see a little patch on the side of an aircraft, you can say, oh, well, either that's an electronic marker. You know, these days we even have radars that are having a very small location, but there was nothing like that. This thing was
nothing to generate the electromagnetic anomalies.
It was pearly white.
How could you even see electromagnetic anomalies around the craft just through
first of all,
video footage?
I also heard them, but it was like little sparks, just like this, like
static discharge,
static discharges, and so it was going on all over. But
it was if the vehicle itself was charged up or something.
Yes, the vehicle appeared to be making the electrical discharges.
Were there any transformers or power sources nearby?
Well, at the top of the craft, there was a pole, and going up from the pole, there were three lines that impressed me as umbilicals. So they may have been feeding electricity to it. They may have been feeding electrical controls, whatever. Now, then, that's one of the reasons that I immediately thought that it was a contractor model, because you can't fly in air or space with umbilicals tied to your craft. So I felt like that what this indicated to me was that on the inside, they did not have sufficient power source, control mechanism, anything. And so through the umbilicals, they were having to feed this information into the vehicle to make it function properly. So if it was a more mature platform, it should have had all of these things internal to the spacecraft without having to have umbilicals feeding into it to provide it power and information or whatever else it was.
Did you get any other context? Did you say, where's this video porting into? Or what do you mean we got it from them? Who are them?
No, well, the thing is, by this time, I had watched it levitate, rotate 360, rotate counterclockwise 360. It had moved left and right, forward and backwards.
Really? It moved left and right. Did it move smoothly?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, yeah, very smoothly. It's just like, you know, if you're playing a video game for the first time and you've got an aircraft and you want to try out the controls to make sure it works right.
Was it enveloped in any sort of bubble or something? A lot of people say that it's...
These electromagnetic discharges were audible. You could hear them, and you could see them. But it was sort of like there was an electromagnetic cover on it. Almost like a plasma shield that had formed on it. Now, when I think of it moving, if it was moving according to the sheer electromagnetic forces, for it to rise up, those forces should have been aimed down. When I saw initially lift off the ground, there were maybe 3 or 4 electromagnetic signals generated each second.
Little just static, sparky thing.
But the thing is, they were totally random. There wasn't anything, if you want it to move this way, there's a bunch of them over here. Mm-hmm. It was moving, when it was moving back and forth. Sometimes, like when it was moving backward, I don't believe there were any electromagnetic discharges on that end of the craft, and I don't think there were really any on the opposite end. It was more across the top and bottom surface of the vehicle. So that caused me to immediately believe the electromagnetic discharges are there, but the electromagnetic discharges are not what is moving this thing.
Mm. Do you have a sense of what might have been moving the thing?
It had to be a force that I was unfamiliar with.
Mm. Fascinating. Okay, so when this guy next to you is saying it came from them, do you get any more context on that?
No, and here's why. In like the next few seconds, the 12 o'clock position rose to a 45-degree angle. Now then,
that's almost like the Commander David Fravor thing, where it's like it goes boop,
Yes. Now then, I flew helicopters and I flew F-16s. Mm-hmm. No vehicle I have ever known of could obtain a 45-degree angle of attack without moving. Mm. A helicopter will get a 45-degree angle of attack, no problem. But as soon as you do that, you're going to have the force vector point forward, and so the rotor is going to move the opposite direction.
Yep.
So there's no vehicle that I know of that could obtain that 45-degree angle of attack. But just then, there was a knock on the window. Mm. So somebody said, "Hey, what's going on in there that the doors are locked?" Well, man, this guy panics. He shuts off the computer and the console. He looks at me and says, "Don't tell anyone I showed you this." I'm thinking, you just showed me a flying saucer. Who am I going to tell it to? So he goes over and he unlocks the door, and this lieutenant colonel came in, and we were both majors, so he outranks us. And then there were two other guys, I think they were captains. And so the lieutenant colonel comes in and says, "What's going on in here? What are you guys up to?" And so this major...
Is the room just like dedicated to like feeding into wherever this UFO is located, or?
Well, it's a computer, a set of computer consoles. There were 4 people. There were 4 computer consoles. It didn't look any different from any other 4 computer consoles. But were you in the room
alone with the one guy?
I was alone with him for a total of maybe 15 minutes.
Yep.
But as soon as they knocked on the door and opened it, now there's 5 of us in there.
Before we get into that, one final question. Do you have any sense on the location of the craft, where you're feeding into in this?
No.
Okay.
If I were to guess, the Lockheed Skunk Works would be one of the tops of the list.
Sure.
Area 51 would be at the top of the list.
Yep.
I would think Wright-Patterson would be at the top of the list.
Usual suspects.
It could be a different location on Cape Canaveral that I don't know about. It could have been at the Dugway Proving Grounds or Twelly out there. Mm-hmm. I have no idea where it is.
Sure.
But it also gave me no indications where it was.
Yeah.
Different parts of the brain have different activities.
Well, you know that, don't you?